All right, Cash. Welcome to Rap Rundown. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm living, man.
So look, we're gonna get into it. So I really want to get your perspective on independent artists, the state of independent artists, and just where we are with things in the space, because a lot of people, they have different feelings and different opinions on it, you know what I mean? But we haven't really just captured it from people that are actually inside the game. So I wanted to sit down with you, you know what I'm saying, and get your perspective, because you're one of the ones that is actively doing this shit. So who better to ask a couple questions?
Sure. When it comes to like the state of independent artists, I'd say, honestly, I know there's like a lot of talk about it not being the greatest, but I feel like it's actually one of the better times for independent artists in like the music era, period, in general, just because there's a lot of different like deal structures nowadays that artists can take without being like in a major label setting, or they can still be independent. I feel like a lot of the control is shifted out of labels in terms of like marketing and things of that nature. So if it's an independent artist that's going to get up and go do what they're supposed to do, I feel like you have a lot more leeway and ability to actually make that happen now. But when it comes to just like artists that kind of half do it and stuff, like I think it's still going to probably hit just as hard as it was before. So that's kind of how I feel.
So in your time, what have you seen work, and what do you see that doesn't work? Like, if you had to go through a list, top 5 red flags of things that you see that absolutely, like, I know this isn't gonna work, and then green flags of things that you look for that you know work.
Work in terms of like what an artist is actively doing, like what I'm seeing from them.
Right.
I would just say, honestly, like lack of consistency is a red flag for me. Obviously, the sound has to be there, stuff like that, but I feel like there's a certain level of maturity, and I feel like you could probably attest to this, but there's a certain level of maturity that you stumble across artists and can kind of tell like that they got it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to wake up and tell somebody, oh, you got to figure out some type of content, or you need to be in the studio recording and stuff like that. Like, for me, it's not hard to help an artist get from point A to point B as long as they're doing like 3 pretty key things, which is just consistent with the content, consistent with the music, and down to move around wherever. Like, and just a natural hustler, because that's going to make my job easier, honestly.
Okay. So you pretty much got the formula of what an artist should be in general. So like, okay, who are some artists who you see that are doing it right, and it kind of give upcoming artists something to look at? Because you got people that are visual learners, like they need to know like who's doing it right. You don't necessarily have to say who's doing it wrong, but like, who are some people that you see that who are doing it right?
Out of Houston or just in general?
Wherever.
Fuck.
Like, we know you Houston, but
well, I work a lot in Houston, so I'll just say in Houston right now, probably like Fastlane. I'd say for the young guys, like Money DW, Lil CEO, stuff like that, because I feel like you have to come with that industry look. You have to come and be consistent with it every single time. Like, you can't just half-ass it. And so when you look at like a Lane or a DW or a CEO, it's like you saw the build-up, you saw the progression, but then once they took it there, it's been consistent all the way through. So it just helps people like myself be able to overexpose that, and really get that out there.
Yeah, for sure. So let's take, an artist like, Fastlane, got the record Crank, doing like incredibly well, I mean, you got the Houston Texans using it as their theme song for the year, even though they end up losing. But just, talk more about, some things that you have seen him do well. Like, I'm seeing, I think they're finna release the remix with Big Boogie. They announcing that they clip that they just shot that yesterday. So, what are some things that you're seeing that they're doing well that you can take and multiply with another artist? Like anybody can kind of plug and play it.
I think it's the fact that like music at the end of the day, it's a business, and like any business, you have to start small and grow big from there. So I think the biggest thing with Lane is the fact that like he stuck consistent with impounding like a specific group and audience, and that just built and compounded. And then I also like how he like a lot of the marketing that he does within, I feel, Texas is very guerrilla style marketing, but it always ends up hitting the blog pages and stuff like that. So like the Texans, for example, like that's like digital, but at the same time, I think the way in which he went about it was like a very guerrilla style approach to marketing, but then it hit the blog pages. And so now it's magnified. And then like, for example, you see last night with the remix with Big Boogie, he posted on his story, yo, everybody pull up, and he's grabbing everybody. So I think Lanes has done a very good job at like bringing his fan base in and letting them feel like a part of the build up. And I feel like that's what's going to kind of help him catapult when it comes to outside audiences, because you already have that core. So when you have that core that's always going to listen and it goes somewhere else, it's not hard from there once it starts picking up.
I agree. So we take that example. That's like, I think one of the better examples, like the best examples you can have. But there's artists, you know, that are just kind of starting up.
Yeah.
And you know, they haven't caught a hit record yet, or even more or less like some people haven't even left their bedroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, to perform for other people. So what would you say to, you know, upcoming artists who they don't have zero idea of how to go about this? What's something that they need to do? Because that's different from an artist that's already
I'd say
got shit going.
honestly, the biggest thing in music is networking. Like, I feel like the more you network, the further you can go. Like, you're gonna be in the studio no matter what. Like, that's obviously the biggest thing to do. But networking, especially for me, I wouldn't be where I am in music if it wasn't for networking. And it's the same for like a lot of people in my position or artists. So like, for example, when I started, I was in the Army. So my networking was just through my phone. So a lot of like artists will make up like just excuses or whatever about, oh, I'm in this small town, or I was in Killeen, Texas, couldn't leave base, or I was in South Korea, couldn't leave base. Networking, talking to the blog pages, building rapport with the owners, hitting up different artists, building rapport, blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff goes a long way, because now you've been making music, whether it's on BandLab or whatever, but let's say you stack up 600 songs. Now you got 30 hits that you could just take to the studio and record. You done networked your ass off. So now you got these records and you just got to make phone calls. At the end of the day, like, the best artists even now know what to do with their records and who to call. Like, if I go and talk to Lane will tell you Crank happened because he knew who to call. But if you didn't network to be able to pick up the phone and call, you would never be there. So I feel like a lot of artists just have to get up out of their shell and network a lot, because positioning is big in this industry.
So how does an artist, because I talk about this a lot, because I agree with you totally, but how does an artist maintain, or how do you suggest an artist maintain, you know, their integrity to a certain degree? Because, like, you know, there's a certain culture, you know, of, I just saw somebody talking about it, another executive speaking on this, but it's talking about glazing.
Yeah.
And it was like,
but you don't gotta glaze, like, just be a person. But like, I think, and you can probably speak on this, but like, there are times I'll be like out at a show or something, and like somebody that's hit me to work or whatever has chopped it up with me in my DMs, and it's just like the way that they approach you, it's just like too aggressive. Like, I'm a person at the end of the day, just be cool. We can make a friendship and build off of that or whatever it is, but I feel like just be normal, bro. Everybody is just a normal person at the end of the day. You don't have to do anything extraordinary. Let your music talk for itself. And like the consistency of people seeing you around is going to make people want to talk to you and accept you anyways.
Right. Community. So if, you know, our artists they coming through Houston, what are 5 places? If not 5, give me 3 places that this artist should visit, should be at. Not necessarily like you're saying to promote your music, but this is where you need to be at because you just might bump into somebody.
Shit, Vibes Recording Studio. Shout out Bubba. Shit, Sauce Factory. They be having a lot of stuff now I've been seeing. I'd say pop out. If you're trying to go like clubs to promote, just real quick, I'd say Dome, Camp, probably Adore, Slept On kind of, and Playground. I feel like those little areas, but really Sugar Hill, like hit the studios, hit a lot of your like local brands, like Faded Decade's a cool place to go kick it at and just mingle with. Like the owners are real cool over there. They do a lot within Houston and like the community in general. But I'd say just go to a lot of the fashion events, go to the studios. There's some iconic studios out here. You can always just run into people. But me, always at a studio or just a club, bro. I feel like everything in Houston happens at a club or a studio.
I got some stories. If you know, you already you pretty much you're an artist in Houston. Let's shift a bit. You're an artist in Houston, and yeah, you've done a lot of like these are the spots. You frequent them. You're in the spots. Give some insight to them in your opinion on what needs to be done differently for them to elevate outside of the city.
Yeah, I think it just comes to, we're talking about an artist that's already kind of locked down the area that
You
they're
from
in.
here, you know it.
Okay, so honestly, it just comes down to those relationships with the blogs outside of Texas. It comes to the ad runs. You can't, I feel like in Houston, there's a lot of like, just not very high-end marketers when it comes to music, or maybe they just don't come out of their shell or whatever, so it might be a little hard for the average artist to find them, but there's definitely marketers out here that'll do full scale like campaigns all the way from radio play to, you know, your audio campaigns to your ad campaigns and YouTube placements. Like that's what amplifies. Like I tell artists all the time, once you've locked down your city, then you need to start locking your region down. And the only way to do that is through your targeted ad campaigns with Spotify's and all of those good things. But like, all of that stuff matters, your seeding, your ads, your just trending campaigns. But if you can't work your city first, I wouldn't really focus on that too much unless you shake out of your city and go somewhere else. But I think you always need that core, like at least couple thousand of people and wherever you're based out of.
No, I agree. So I've caught in some flack recently for saying certain numbers. I want to know in your perspective, because I feel like it just varies, honestly.
Yeah.
We speaking honest, like it just varies for different situations.
Yeah.
But in your perspective, what would it take just to get something going regionally? Like, what type of resources does the artist need to be looking at?
I would say like, if you really about to do a full label type thing, I'd say regionally 50 to like 70,000 on the low end, just to be able to hit like, and that's probably for at least 2 months, probably 2-3 month campaign on some low end, all the way up to if you're really trying to break records. I mean, I've seen spins for 250, 300. I mean, we saw Lil Russell spend 190 on ads alone over a 90-day period. So I think it depends the magnitude, but it also, I think something people don't talk about is like your scale. Like you don't want to just go straight to the top or go like, if you have 50K, we're not just about to go and just dump 50K straight in behind one song. Like that doesn't make sense. I feel like even what I see in Texas sometimes a lot is artists will jump straight to the on the radars or straight to like these big platforms for their first single out the gate or something like that. But then when you really sit and think about it, it's like, okay, what are you going to do next? Like, what are you going to do after that? Like, okay, when it's time for you to have a real big album push, like, you're not going to be able to go hit the on the radars. They don't want to see you again. Like, yeah, they'll take your money and do it, but the fans and the audience, if your shit flopped the first time, it's going to flop the second time.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's all about like how you scale it and build up to those different platforms and that ad spend and things of that nature. But I'd say 50 up to 200. Depending on, but you know, they say they 4 bats broke with $1,500.
Did he?
Shit, I don't know. We'll go with it.
We'll go with it. It sound good. I mean, our artists like 4 bats. Let's talk about that. Like seeing his rollout, because I got to witness it close. I'm privy to certain things, but like in your perspective, how can an artist sort of like recreate that? Like
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Like, not with him. Like, he had Boo behind him. Shout out, like, Boo the GOAT. So it might have taken 1,500 because he probably could have made a lot of phone calls. For the average person, it's like, I don't think you really can. Ads, maybe. If you have like a crazy hit and a crazy content piece behind it and backing, but I don't like to sell people on dreams. Like, I like to sell people on what's reality. So, like, I don't want someone coming to me thinking that they about to be signing a 4 bats deal off of $1,500.
Right.
That's how.
That's 1 in a million.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. I mean, but beyond like, because I believe in what you're saying. Like, you can't recreate certain things. Like, there's a certain magic to a superstar. Like, it's not just an equation that you can just put together and like, I got it. I think things have to happen, and like you say, people come together. And his story is his story. Like, certain things just kind of make the thing. But I do believe that there are some things that an artist can take from how he presented everything and positioned everything. Because okay, let's just say he only had $1,500.
Yeah.
And that $1,500 went to Zay from On the Block. That's all the money he had. And he spent that on his From the Block. And he shot the videos with his friends on his iPhone, which he had to pay for.
Yeah.
Like, I count everything in the budget, but we're gonna keep it at $1,500. There was still something that he did to.
I mean,
There was still something that he did to take
wasn't
that
it just like a
to the next
TikTok
level.
campaign? Like, didn't that clip just go viral on TikTok and stuff?
There was a couple of different things happening at once.
Because I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't even listen past the first 4 bat song.
So
Like-
if you didn't see the 4 bats thing, who we're talking about, 4 bats, when he rolled his music out, he's a kid, went ski mask,
Yeah.
he was dropping clips. He was dropping reels. And it was the way that he dropped the reels.
Yeah.
The scripters and the captions, just different things that were just very, in my mind, intentional, that I felt like carried everything over, and it was a different aesthetic that cut through
Yeah.
the noise. And I feel like my point that I'm making is, if you don't need $250,000 for that budget out the gate to get people to like it.
What year was that, though?
That was 2 years ago. Yeah, that's
I'm not
2
going to
years
lie.
ago.
2 years ago, Instagram just seems way like a way different
It was
game.
way different game.
And music just seems way like, because, okay, let's take that same example. There's an artist out here named Balaji, right? Super dope, like alternative R&B artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was dropping clips, aesthetic crazy, all that stuff. One of them it hit some millions of views. It translated into some good streaming, stuff like that. But I think nowadays there's so much saturation in content that it's like, clip's not gonna help no more. I think it's like, I've been telling my team, like, impact, like, you gotta figure out how to drive, like, impact through the culture as an artist. Like, you ever notice, like, the big-ass artists right now are the ones that you can sit and remember, like, where were you at when the My Turn album came out? And, like, where were you at when, like, fucking Lil Uzi's Love Is Rage album came out? And, like, where were you at when some of these big albums came out? I feel like that's how you submit, like, your name. So being able to consistently do that, but scaling it, I kind of focus on more right now.
Do you think? Because what I believe the difference is a major label in all of what you just named. The main difference is a major label.
It is, but like
even down to Forbes.
It is
because he goes from virality, right?
Yeah.
And we all can
But Forbes fell off.
You yourself as a marketer, you know exactly how to create virality.
Yeah.
Right? So once you have it, something has to happen from there. So what I see in the Forbes situation is Forbes is discovered, like you said, by somebody who knows what to do with this level of talent.
Yeah.
And then we move it and we do the business we need to do, and then we out of here.
Yeah. I mean, that's how things happen for sure. But I also feel like not every artist like blew up off of a major label. But like, I feel like there's detached art, but I don't know, bro. I'm gonna be real. The music industry is so crazy right now that like independent artists aren't even truly independent art. Like, so it's kind of like, I don't know. Because when you look at it, like a Ken Carson and artists like that, was like, they're major label, I guess, in a way, because they're under Interscope, but they're also like three labels in between Interscope. So are they really a major label artist yet?
Yeah.
So then when you look at the way they roll their shit out, it's really not that crazy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I feel like there's so many different sides to looking at things. I think it just comes down to like the artist. I feel like you're already winning as an artist if you're just consistent, because there's across the board with everything. Me and my bro were talking about it earlier. Like, if you're consistent across the board with everything, from the moment you jump, you're dropping every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you're coming with like a consistent plan. When people see you, you're popping it how you should be as an artist, all that good stuff. The manager is gonna come find you. I feel like artists need to stop trying to find managers. I feel like artists should just create and then let the people find them. Because the right manager is going to come and find you and know what to do with that talent. That's how a lot of these people are blowing up right now. Like, a lot of your young people right now are literally just dropping and then Alamo's coming through, or like Foundation's coming through, or just all these little indies or just sub-labels and stuff coming through and snatching them early. Like, people think you gotta be up right now to get signed. I'm seeing kids signed at like 10K followers, 6K followers, 1,900 followers.
I got some stories.
So it's like, man, you just gotta be consistent and network and move. Like, I don't know. I'm one of those ones that I don't feel bad for independent artists right now. I feel like most artists are just lazy. So like, we just gotta get up and work collectively. I feel like it's a collective thing. I feel like a lot of DJs, I feel like everybody's just frustrated with everybody right now. But I think it'll happen I think we need to get back to gatekeeping. And I think that the young gen within like our age needs to step up when it comes to like the business side, because I don't think that there's that many people, especially like within the southern region of music, that are young and really trying to do music business at a high level. Because then like the independent artists aren't ever going to have a chance. You know, the people like us, we're more apt to helping out independent artists and stuff like that. But when you don't have many more of us or people that actually understand and have been in label situations or get deals actively, then it's just a bunch of like he says, she says, you know? So, and that doesn't help.
I think there isn't a lack of executives. I think there's a lack of, just my standpoint, I think there's a lack of people highlighting it, which is why I'm taking the stance on I want to sit down with certain minds and really expose the other side of it, because, you know, a lot of artists villainize executives, you know what I mean? They villainize because you think they're putting their all into these people, whoever they may be. You know, they're trusting them with a vision. And at the end of the day, if you aren't able to deliver on that,
Yeah.
you know, you
look like the bad guy.
Right.
But, I mean, that's true, but I'm going to be real. I just think that there's not that many true executives down here. Not down here. I don't think that there is. Like, there's a couple of them, but not any that are doing, like, big shit, though. Like, I think the standard just needs to be raised. Like, and there just needs to be a bigger influx of media out here on a higher level. There needs to just be executives doing higher level shit, not just doing the same boring sounding shit. I think people need to take more chances on the types of music that's coming out the South too. But other than that, I don't think it's too bad for independent artists right now. Shit costs. We're in a recession, so that sucks, but network. There's a lot of people that show love.
So if you had to give an independent artist some game, closing out, what type of game would you give them right now, going into the future, going, you know, through the rest of this decade? Because we know things change, times change. Like, we got this trend going on right now with people looking 10 years back and just noticing, you know, the difference in culture and things like that. So just how things shift in culture, things shift in business, things shift in marketing, technology. Where do you see things going for the future? And how would you advise an independent artist to move throughout it?
I'd say right now, I think it's best for an independent artist that's just starting out. And most artists don't focus on streaming. Look at streaming as passive income to music. And then for the rest, just focus on that core. Focus whether it's your first 100, first 1,000, first 10,000 people, and really work that audience, whether it's, you know, direct to consumer with Even and selling product or selling merch and stuff like that. And really like being creative with how your music translates into your core fan base and how you can work them and move them and make them work for you. Because I feel like we're in an era now where artists fail when they think so much about how many streams are they getting and not thinking about their artistry as like a product and how do I get it out to either as many listeners or how do I just cut out this middleman and go direct to. So then that way, you know, you can trickle effect where even you can stack your money and invest into a marketing campaign and build on top, but really focus up on that core. I feel like Holder is a good place for independent artists if you haven't heard of it. I think Even's a really good place for independent artists right now. I'm always big fan of United Masters for independent artists right now. So I think just finding your little ecosystem as an independent artist and then being consistent within that. Don't focus on the streams, just focus on your actual fan base.
All right, well, Cash, we appreciate you pulling up, giving us some game to the independent artists.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
It's been another episode of Rap Rundown.